the 8th of April, 2024, many people living in a large swath across North America will get the chance to watch a total solar eclipse, literally from their backyard. They get to be amateur astronomers or astronomers for a day. I can say this with some confidence. Get the protective glasses. It's the best way to watch this eclipse. Most importantly, stay calm, look up. Such things like this eclipse have occurred throughout history, and they have actually happened during rather important historical events. And the impact it's had on people on the ground has literally shaped that historical event, and I'm going to give you a couple of examples of that in this video. But most importantly, for all of you getting the chance to see this eclipse, it's worth it. Take the time, buy the protective glasses, stay calm, look up. GERA Foundation presents this series called Navigating Research. This is my simplest public service announcement that I can give on viewing solar eclipses. Very simple. First thing you should do is not listen to this website here, but go to Google and Google viewing solar eclipses. That's the first thing you should do. Just give yourself an idea what to expect, okay? What to look for. If you want to watch it out of complete fascination, like a childlike wonder, and you don't want to know, okay, fine, I understand that. But the first thing you should do is at least then figure out how to safely do it. Yes, you can look quickly at the sun, like I'm talking like a split second, whatever, but do not stare. Secondly, no, you can't use your sunglasses. It doesn't work because sunglasses are polarized, which just means they're either the light coming at this orientation to you is let through, or the light coming at this orientation is coming through. So basically, you're getting half the light. So all you've done is you've decreased the danger by a half, but the danger is still really bad. It could damage your eyes. No, don't stare at the sun. Certainly don't stare at it when the eclipse is going, but don't even stare at the sun when it's a bright sunny day. Use something. And you can buy these glasses. They look kind of funny, but they actually have special film in it that actually block out most of the dangerous sunlight. So that you can safely view. And then you will see all the amazing things that the solar eclipse gets to show. It's really quite impressive. And it's worth doing. So there we go. And just as a last, this is my own personal, if I have to tell you to go outside as step one, then you're probably never going to be interested anyways. So I'm not even going to use that as step one. That to me is a given. That's for people that actually enjoy being outside. That's for people that have an imagination that don't limit it to the inside world of their phone. Anyways, that's just me. So what is an eclipse? Very simply put, and this website does an excellent job of it, it's really just the shadow of the moon on the earth. And the path the shadow follows across the earth is the path of totality, where the maximum amount of time total darkness will occur. And really, we're just lucky. The moon is a certain size and a certain distance from us, and the sun is a certain size and a certain distance from us. And when the moon gets between us and the sun, they're at just the right size to almost block out the entire sun. Ergo, total eclipse. We're just lucky. It's just the size of the moon, its distance, the sun, etc. But that's really what the answer is. So that's what a total eclipse is. And now finally, I'm not going to go on about that, but finally, why don't they happen all the time? And this is very interesting. It's really just the tilt of the moon's orbit around the sun, around the earth rather, sorry. And so the tilt is about 5 degrees. And so we can calculate all that. Astronomers can sit down and I wouldn't waste my time. But astronomers can sit down and calculate when the next eclipse is going to happen because we know the rotation of the Earth axis. We know the orbit of the Earth around the sun. We know the moon's orbit. We can work out all the ephemerides of all this, and we can tell you when the next one will occur and where. We're very good at it. Historically, ancient astronomers were also pretty good at it, and they did this too. That's my public service announcement. Here is the path of totality, the shadow of the moon traveling across the earth, as it relates mostly to Canada, because I'm living in Canada and that's the only interesting part. I grew up in a town here on this area right here of Lake Huron, Port Franks. Lovely beaches in the summer for tourists, 300 people all year round when I was a kid, and 60 were my relatives. So if I was there today, I'd be very close to where this path of totality is going to occur. However, I am not. I am in Alberta, 3,500 kilometers away. And I had planned to drive down to see this. Regrettably, things have come up and I'm not able to do so. So, yes, I could fly, but no, I don't want to fly. I'd rather drive. It's only 3,500 kilometers. Why can't you do that? I can do that in the dark. And I do, driving through the night. I went to university here in Kingston. They're in the path of totality, so they'll get probably 2 minutes of darkness. The best place in my area would have been probably to go to places like in Hamilton somewhere, which is in this area here, or even go to Niagara Falls. It'd be great. You got the falls. I've never seen the falls. I literally grew up 2 hours drive from Niagara Falls. I've never seen it because I'm not a tourist and I don't care. So it's just water going over a cliff. Thank you. You know, gravity, whatever. Anyways, this is the path of totality. So those of you who are interested, this is some of the spots you'd want to get to. Weather is a key factor always, and astronomers live by this. Weather is a key factor as it relates to night sky viewing, right? Now remember, I'm a radio astronomer. I see day and night, and the clouds aren't as problematic to me. But if I'm trying to look at the sun and the eclipse, a cloud is a headache, right? So all I do is go to Google and I ask, well, what's the typical weather going to be like in the area where I'm going? What's the chance of me getting a nice clear day? You can see from this map, not good in the Great Lakes area, not likely, okay? Better chance in Texas and in Mexico. But I ain't traveling to Texas and Mexico, and I was hoping to drive to Ontario along this path here. The likelihood of cloud in the Chicago, Toronto area is probably high this time of year. Now, there's an interesting thing is there's a corridor from Toronto to Montreal along the St. Lawrence River where there's a major freeway, the 401 highway in Canada. And basically, if you want to try to find an opening in the sky, just drive along this road until you see a clear sky, a clear patch, and then wait for the eclipse. That's precisely what a friend of mine and I did in South Africa in 1999, seeing the eclipse there that was running along the border with Zimbabwe. So we just drove along the gravel road that beside the border of Zimbabwe and South Africa until we found a clearing in the skies and we watched the eclipse. Otherwise, we would have saw cloud cover and a darkening, and that's it. So remember, weather's important when you're going to go out and watch an eclipse. Only in Canada will they scream they require a state of emergency because they're worried about having too many tourists. I don't think it's the emergency is in the sun being blocked out by the moon. No, I don't think that's the emergency. And I don't think they're worried about that. It's basically because they don't think that they can handle the influx of people. The police are nervous and so on, so on. As if they don't do this every weekend in the summer months.
Eclipse and Sips wine event sold out almost as soon as he floated the idea. In this vast tank, Merlot ready to be served on the big day, but he's worried his small winery will be overrun.
So for us, that's always an issue with, say, washroom capacities, with parking spots and things like this. So we're actually hiring or we're bringing in extra staff. So this is where we're going to try and set up for the eclipse.
The Niagara region is in the path of totality. It'll have one of the best views of April 8th's solar eclipse.
Everything is here that you could possibly need.
Prompting skyrocketing demands for hotel rooms at Super Bowl prices, some more than $1,000.
Most of the folks that are here are from the United States, but we do have some from overseas.
David Carroll oversees 3 hotels on the American side, 3 on the Canadian side, including this one. all pretty much sold out.
I've been in the business a long time. I'm shocked the amount of people that are coming up to this part of the United States and Canada to see an eclipse for 4 minutes. I'm really surprised. But there's a calling for it, so people, they're excited.
So I tested these during the day, and I couldn't see a thing.
And perhaps no one is excited as the mayor of Niagara Falls.
We're preparing for the worst, hoping for the best. We know there could end up being upwards of 1 million people in the city.
The last time the falls saw anything near that number was when Nick Valenda crossed the Horseshoe Falls on a tightrope. 150,000 showed up. The city has ordered tens of thousands of certified eclipse viewing glasses, but still expects to run out.
It's kind of like get a bigger boat in Jaws, and that's kind of where we are. We're like, get more glasses.
Police have been coordinating on a safety plan, anticipating hours of gridlock throughout the region.
There is a mathematical number, so how many cars can be on the road in the Niagara region. If we overwhelm that, there's only so much we can do.
They're asking people to plan ahead, make sure they have food, water, and medication with them. Of course, if the weather is anything like this miserable March day, all that planning, the anticipation, the worry, and those glasses for nothing. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Niagara Falls.
Sometimes solar eclipses, astronomical events can actually lead to good things based on people's belief structures, etc. Well, here's an example. The Battle of the Eclipse, they call it. There was an ongoing war in the early 6th century BC where two groups, the Lydians and the Medes, I can't pronounce the name very well, those two sides were fighting each other, and in the 6th year of that war, when they were in battle, an eclipse occurred. And for each side, that was seen as a bad omen. They immediately called a truce, withdrew from the battlefield, and eventually led to a lasting peace. And this was in ancient Turkey, basically is where it was. Anyways, that's an example of an astronomical event that led to something good. And it was because of their fears, their belief structures and their fears. But there's an example. So the Battle of the Eclipse, 6th century BC. The Macedonian Empire created by Alexander the Great came crashing down on probably the 22nd of June, 168 BCE, at the Battle of Pydna. Now, I'm not trying to suggest that the lunar eclipse that occurred on the night before caused the demise of the Macedonian phalanx. What I am saying is it probably affected the psyche of the combatants. The interesting part was the Romans were able to successfully predict, which means they were better astronomers. They were able to predict the lunar eclipse, and that led to them being able to pacify the fears of their men. In other words, the commander went around and said, hey, this is natural, we've predicted it, it's occurred, go to sleep, get some rest, be ready for tomorrow. The Macedonians, on the other hand, simply saw a bad omen. And that would actually create greater anxiety in them. And when things start going bad in battles, when you have high anxiety, you start doing bad things. And this battle it started off well, but it ended badly for the Macedonians. They eventually lost to the Roman legions. The phalanx system was never used again. And the empire built by Alexander the Great disappeared. All because of a lunar eclipse? No, I don't think so. But it probably contributed. The Battle of Phrygia is my absolute favorite story regarding an astronomical event adversely affecting the outcome of the battle itself. In this case, it wasn't an adverse effect at all. It was the opposite. It actually literally impacted on the battlefield and caused the two combatants to withdraw and not fight at all that day. The Roman Empire was busy expanding into modern-day Turkey, and they were facing off against a Pontic army. This was the third war against this army. And in 68 BC, they came together, and as the two armies were on the battlefield marching towards each other, before they actually made contact, they heard a scream coming across the sky. They looked up, they saw an asteroid screaming in, and it literally crashed between the two opposing armies. As the thing was coming down to the ground, the two armies were really rushing to get the hell out of there. You could imagine. This would be heaven defying. So each thought it was a bad omen, each thought they had offended some god, and each decided they weren't going to fight that day, and they walked away from it. This is an example where a true impact had an impact on a battle. This is what you might expect to see on the 8th of April, 2024, if you're in North America. I think Douglas Adams put things in total perspective. Here's a great example, his Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And on the front cover, it says, "Don't panic." We can refer to this edition as the Hitchhiker's Guide to a Solar Eclipse. And again, say, don't panic. It's not like we're facing down the Macedonian phalanx with 18-foot long, sharp sarissa spikes coming towards us. We're literally we're just going to park off in our backyard, sitting in a chair, drinking a cold one, looking up at the sky. Hey, we got life pretty good, I would say. So, no, if our restaurants make a little extra money, good for them. It ain't a panic. In all seriousty, though, do get the protective glasses. You'll enjoy it more. So you don't have to worry about things like hurting your eyes and that. Get the protective glasses. Enjoy the spectacle. Take the time. But I got to tell you, back in history, people were seriously affected by things like this. Whether they were bad omens or not, I could imagine why they were a bad omen. You could lose your eyesight. So that would make it a pretty bad omen. But as I said, we are not facing down the Macedonian phalanx. We're not the Romans going head to head against the Parthian Empire. We're going to park off and watch this and enjoy. So, my words to you are, stay calm, look up, enjoy it. The GERA Foundation will produce more videos like this. Please like, share, or subscribe if you enjoyed this video.